Right. Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 8 of Trials Talk podcast. As you can see, he's down there this time. I got that wrong last time. I pointed the wrong way. We've got very pleased to have Jack Dance joining us. So thank you very much, Jack, for that.
Hi, everyone.
Don't forget, everybody who's watching the videos, we've had quite good response to some of the last ones that have been up. Don't forget, please subscribe. I was doing a bit of research into YouTube and their algorithm and everything else, and I didn't realize just quite how important the whole subscribe thing is. I thought likes and comments and all was quite important, but subscribing is the answer. So if you like what we're doing here, then please give us a wee subscribe. So basically what's happened since the last episode is San Marino World Round, Andorra World Round, and also there was a British Championship in Devon there at the weekend. Obviously, Jack was starring in all of them. So we'll start off with San Marino. Obviously, a few things happened prior to that, which was mostly Grattarola leaving Vertigo and going back to Beta. And I think, Hugo, you were pretty spot on there. I think you predicted him to podium. So it doesn't look that good for Vertigo, maybe, but yeah.
Looks good for Beta, though.
Doesn't it? Yeah, you're happy. He's grinning like a Cheshire cat there.
Yeah. No, it's just whatever suits him best, and obviously.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously just didn't gel with the bike. It's not like you don't lose, like we said previously in one of the previous episodes, you don't lose that talent overnight. So it was obviously just something about the bike he didn't like.
Yeah, obviously, I don't know what it would be. I'm sure Vertigo's a good bike, and it is a lot. Yeah, well, people get on well with them, so just didn't suit him, obviously, did it?
Just whatever it was didn't suit his style. So nothing really out of the ordinary in TrialGP. However, our special guest had his first podium in Trial 2. Not only did he have his first podium, but he actually just went and stuck it on the top of the podium. So, you know, I mean, if you're going to just get straight in there, Jack, you know, awesome.
Yeah, there's a job to be done, so we may as well do it properly.
That's it. If you're going to do it.
The way, Jack. Awesome, that was fair. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah. Talk us through it then. What was I mean, I'm sure like last couple of sections, starting to get a wee bit nervy.
The pressure's unbelievable. Just because I knew, so on the first lap I was winning. So this is day 2 on Sunday.
Yeah.
The first lap I was winning, which I was like over the moon about, but I knew that there was a lot of hard work to do on the second lap. So, you know, I had a few, should we say, nervous dabs on the first half of that second lap. And then I had an unfortunate 5 on one of our hardest sections. I knew there was a bit of a gap, you know, to play with. So I thought I'd lost it at the minute. But then one of our team managers said, "Come on, Jack, you need to really push. You're still winning." So that at that point, I thought, right, we can actually do this. But the pressure was unbelievable because we was looking at the scores the whole time, just making sure, like, I could have probably only had a 2 at the time, and then I can only have a 1. But the gap ended up being quite a margin. I think it was 6 in the end. But it was brilliant to have Sondre in second place behind me as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
A good weekend for the team. What do you think about, you know, like, obviously you're getting fed the scores as you're going around from the team manager or whatever. Would you rather know them, or would you prefer to just not know and block it out of your mind, sort of thing?
I think you need to know to some extent, because if you get to a tough section and I don't know, you can only have 2 points, and you know, if you just have a 3 because you want to get out the section, if you could really push for a 2, it would be even better, and it makes a hell of a difference, especially in Trial 2, because you know,
with how
the
tight it is,
so tight. It could be like from 1st to 5th, like, I don't know, 3 points difference. So yeah, it does make a hell of a difference.
Yeah,
I can imagine it piles the pressure on that, I bet.
I'm not sure in that situation. I don't think I'd want to know the score. I think I'd just turn into a nervous wreck. So, I mean, did you approach that weekend any different? Because I think previously up to that, your best result was, am I right in saying it was 7th or 8th?
So the last year I got 2 6th places.
Yeah.
Two, and they were my best score. And then this year, I mean, I think I had an 8th, and that was my best this year. And then day one in San Marino, I got a 5th, which I was overlooking about. That was brilliant. But then day 2, I just topped that even more. So I was really, really pleased, and so was the team as well.
And was it just, I think probably the 5th place probably just gave you that little bit of confidence. Then you went into Sunday.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the style of sections were like really slippery, like lots of, well, all the sections were streams. There was a few muddy banks, so being a southerner may have helped in a way.
Played into your hand.
Yeah, plenty of third gear. But no, I just sort of got into the flow, and the sections were all rideable and definitely all cleanable. You just have to stay on M5s. So just having 2 5s in the whole trial on that Sunday was perfect. And then I could try and make myself more consistent. So then I think it ended up being 2 laps of 14. So that was good. But as regards to preparation, I flew out to Spain. So to practice with the team, they put me on a fresh bike for the weekend. So it was basically me and Albert swap bikes, and I had one of Busto's engines, which was an absolute rocket ship. And we went training throughout the week, just building confidence, really, just really helping each other, just like finishing off techniques that we were unsure about. And then it was the long drive to San Marino, and I got to drive in the truck with Melcior, the mechanic. So that was a good old 2-day journey in that. But
that was the highlight of the fortnight.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Yeah, we definitely didn't get stuck in the paddock at 12 o'clock at midnight. So.
Go on then. What happened there?
Go on. Yeah, tell us that story.
Well, should we say San Marino has got some very tight lanes, and in a big lorry, it's hard to navigate. So we ended up being a bit later.
Oops.
So we arrived in the paddock. It was dark, and it was really strange. It was like an old campsite. So as we pulled up and round, we just sort of took a bit of the dirt with us, and did a bit of landscaping, and just left it as it was, and worried about that until the morning.
Nobody will notice. It's fine. Wasn't us.
No. It'll all grow back for next year.
Grow back, won't
it? And so I'd seen in the build up to that, I think what you're talking about, the practicing in Spain and stuff, I'd seen some stuff on the GasGas social media. I think it was probably Albert's Instagram.
Yeah.
There was everybody in the team was practicing the same section. It was like a series of
steps,
multiple sort of steps. And do you think, I mean, Albert was unbelievable, right? I mean, I still think he could come back and finish probably top 6.
Oh, 100%.
He's such a good rider.
He's so stylish as well, isn't he? Like, so smooth.
He still jumps on his bike now, and we're like, whoops, we should be doing that.
Yeah.
But
does he want us to
technique do that? And I suppose just years and years of practice and knowing all the techniques, and obviously he's known as the smooth operator. He just knows how to be smooth and be light on the bike, and it's an amazing like riding style to have, and hopefully a bit of it will rub on me.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad. He's he's one of my favourites to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. So. It's so stylish to watch. You think, and that's sort of what's getting at, that influence obviously that he has. He's obviously the team manager. He's tried to create that sort of team environment where obviously you've got Jaime as the sort of team leader, and that he's getting you all to practice together to get that sort of talent or skill or whatever it is to filter down.
Yeah, I mean, he's such a good teacher as well. He knows how to, you know, make it come across as so it's easy to understand. And sometimes he'll say things and you think, why didn't I think of that in the first place? But he's got a way of telling it, and then all of a sudden we're all doing it. And it's good to have a team manager that's sort of an ex-rider, because he knows what we're going through.
It's so it is odd when people, like, you only need, it could even be something simple like you say, but you just need someone to say it to you, don't you? And then all of a sudden it just clicks into place and you can do it.
Yeah, just to remind you.
Yeah.
But no, it's a really good move from GasGas to have out as our team manager.
Yeah.
He's, you know, he knows, like I said before, he knows what we're going through, and he can help us improve and, you know, build our confidence as a team, not just an individual rider as well.
It seems to be working anyway.
Yeah. I mean, Busto riding, I mean, he's an unbelievable rider.
He seems to have gained a bit more consistency this year as well, doesn't he, Busto? Maybe that's a bit of Cabed rubbing off on him.
Yeah, telling him what to do.
I don't think anybody really tells Jaime what to do they?
No.
Well,
he could try,
that's very true, yeah.
he's a law unto himself a wee bit. But I kind of like that about him. I like the fact that he just looks so laid back all the time, doesn't he? He never seems to be under pressure. Although I think he felt the pressure maybe a wee bit. Was it the second day he didn't? He was down to third.
Yeah. I mean, he's always, like, for some reason this year he's loved winning on a Sunday.
Yeah, so, as I noticed that.
I don't know why or whatever that is, but he seems to almost put himself in that mindset and really go for it on that day too.
Yeah, it's like he needs to kick up the arse of Bo winning on the Saturday to drive him on for the Sunday.
Oh yeah, it's definitely that. Yeah.
Yeah, bit of that, all right. So Andorra then, same again. You know, you've only been on the podium twice, and you've managed to stick it on the top step.
It was on the Saturday. It was quite a shame because I missed out of the podium on, you know, time and everything. And
that.
You know, it's sometimes that's one of the downfalls of it, because it's not necessarily on your riding ability. It's whoever can get round quick enough. But it is sometimes it's a good thing. It does work in your favour, but you know, I suppose I've just got to go a bit quicker.
I don't know. You're quick enough. You were quick enough for that 1:25 the day you went the wrong way in Scotland, and I couldn't catch you.
Well, yeah, that is true. Yeah, we won't talk about it. I did all of a sudden get very lost.
Yeah, I don't know where you ended up. You probably ended up somewhere out about Blackwater that day.
Pretty much. The moors are a big place, isn't
they? Yeah.
Yeah, luckily it was a fire road. I was all right.
So again, I mean, so you know you can do it. So you've arrived in Andorra. You've nearly, as you say, it was only time penalties really that cost you the podium on day one. So are you thinking, right, I can do this? How do having won the trial on the second day the previous week, do you approach it differently? Or do you just do the same thing and that's it?
It's sort of do the same thing, and you just in this class you've got to really push. No matter what section it is, you've got to give it 100%, whatever. And you sort of start to look around at different people, see what level they are, but you can't judge without seeing the scores. So usually at the end of the first lap, you can sort of see where we're at. And I think I was sat third, so I was on 3, the same as Pablo, and then Alex Canales was on 2. So it was definitely possible, and I knew Alex Canales was riding really well, and he was ahead of me, so I could sort of watch what he was doing. And then it sort of started to rain on that. I think it was at the end of the first lap, early second lap. So that did definitely change the sections a bit. Sometimes it was washed off, but they were slippery. It's like as soon as the bit of mud drags up, like the British, as soon as it rained, it was chaos.
Turning into ice.
Yeah. Section 9, I think, was quite hard for us. 6 and 9 was quite hard. So they were the crucial sections. And I think Pablo had a 3 on 9. So did Canales. So that opened up a bit of a gap. And then I managed to clean it, which was brilliant because it brought us sort of back in the game, really.
Yeah.
And then section 10, I think I got given a 1, but I didn't get a 1. So the team manager was up there. He was arguing, seeing, you know, if we could sort anything out, but they wouldn't change it. So we sort of accepted it. There's still a bit of a gap, so I knew I had a bit of leeway either way. And then going into section 11, I went up the first step, I got a bit of mud in my eye. So anyone that probably watched on section 11 probably thought I'd never ridden a bike in my life, but I couldn't see anything. So that was a bit of a sort of a dodgy moment. I managed to clean it, which was brilliant, but I still don't know. And the people that were watching me, I don't think they knew how I did it either.
Furiously blinking through the section.
I must have walked it that many times, memorised
Yeah, muscle memory.
Yeah, it must have been. And then onto section 12. So I could sort of see a fair few people gathering at the top. So I knew I was still in the lead. Everyone else had finished, so their score was set in stone, whatever. And then it's sort of this section, I suppose it was pretty straightforward, but it could easily go wrong. And the ruts had just got quite deep, and because it had rained and dragged a bit of mud up, it was quite slippery. So you just went really steady through it and managed to get out the end for another clean, which I was over the moon to have another win, you know. So
I bet you were, yeah.
That was it.
The weekend was just really good, really good. The whole 2 weeks were really.
Yeah, and it was good. I can't remember if it was San Marino or I think it was that last section in Andorra that you're describing there. I think it was really good to see because I think Sondre was just in front of you, was he? He just finished in front of you.
Yeah, that's it.
And it was really good. You know, I think he was the first person to come over and congratulate you. So it's obviously like a really good team spirit, like we were talking about earlier. Obviously, so I mean,
really good team.
It's good to see. It's good to see. What about you?
Sondre's a really nice lad as well, isn't he?
Yeah. Speaks really good English, and you know I get along really well with him.
Yeah.
But I think every time I was obviously worrying my mum because she was sitting back in the pub waiting for me because we were just waiting at the end of section 12, so we was probably taking ages. But no, she was always waiting at the bottom, really happy for her and everything. So no, it was really nice to have her there to, you know, support me through it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it was the San Marino one. I saw the video you and your mum having a big hug afterwards. It's brilliant.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. As people, I suppose a lot of people maybe don't, you know, they don't see that. You know, your mum's been there from day dot, standing out in the rain, probably observing at some trials as well, and God knows what else.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I've been there with my parents observing. I'm sure Hugo's done the same. His dad's still running about after him. So, you know, people probably don't really see that.
Yeah.
So what about your teammate then, Jaime? What do you reckon of his performance in Andorra? he pulled it out the bag a little bit on the Saturday, because he didn't have a good. I think it was it Saturday? Yeah, I think it was Saturday. He didn't have a good first lap, but he kind of salvaged it a bit.
Yeah, it was. I think it was quite tough for them because their sections were either clean or 5. So it was very hard to judge. You know, you just mess one little bit up, and then that's it. It's gone. So I know that he really wants it because he comes back so frustrated with himself, but he knows he can do it. That's the thing, I think.
Yeah.
What sort of sections were they? Were they on that like real steep hillside? A lot of them, Jack.
Yeah.
Andorra,
so we had one down in the town. Then we had the second one was in the river, and then it was like a 20-minute ride up to Naturlandia, and it was on the sort of loamy, rocky hillside.
Yeah.
So right at the top.
Isn't
right
that
up to the top? Okay.
That's just like across the road, isn't it? From that.
Yeah. You
building?
literally can park up and go and ride.
Yeah. I actually sent. There was one of the sections, I can't remember which one it was in the TrialGP, but there was one particular rock sitting out the hillside, and TrialGP were sort of riding up onto the side of the rock and then lining up on it and then going off up. And I think it was section 6 or 7. And I thought, I recognize that rock. And I went back through all my photographs, and I thought, I have a photograph. I took a photograph of Steve Colley in 1993, reversed out onto that rock on a Beta Gara. And I actually sent it. I sent it to Danny doing the commentary.
Yeah.
He was like, I can't believe that's the same rock. I can't believe you even remembered that was the same rock. But that was the anorak coming out in me, that one.
You knew you'd seen it.
Yeah, I'll if I can find it. I have it on my phone somewhere. If I can find it, I'll slot it into the video when I edit it. But yeah, 1993, they were riding the same section.
I think it's quite a traditional sort of part of the section now, because they always seem to do that part.
Yeah,
and it's like clean or 5, whatever.
It's it's just one of those rocks. You look at it and go, yeah, that would be class just to ride up on and then reverse right out on it. That's what they used to do back in the day. Obviously, you can't reverse now. Well, you sort of do, but you're not really supposed to. But right, okay then. So, Tony has stretched out a bit of a lead now in the World Championship. I don't know. It might be a bit controversial, but I find that quite boring. I was getting quite excited by the TrialGP when Tony and Jaime were like swapping wins. Tony won on the Saturday, Jaime came out and won on the Sunday. It sort of made it interesting again. But now he's got, I think it's a 15-point lead or something. I downloaded the scores earlier. Hold on a second here, find out.
We've got 4 more rounds to go. So 2 in Italy and 2 in France. Yeah,
14. It's a 14-point lead. Sorry, 14-point lead he has.
But I think, Tony's only got to have a 3rd place and a couple of seconds, and then it sort of evens it out. So Marcelli's riding good at the minute.
He's riding very well.
He's riding good.
Guadarola on a beta.
It only takes one of them to win, and then it mixes it right up again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you forget it's 5 points in it from 1st to 3rd, so it's soon 14 points could be eaten up pretty quickly, couldn't it?
Yeah, well, there is that. Although you sort of look at the consistency that Tony has. And I hope not, but it looks possibly like it might be an unassailable lead for Jaime. I hope it isn't. I'd love to see somebody topple Tony, to be honest, but I think it would just make it interesting. One thing that I was really pleased to see was Jorge Casales finally looking like he can ride a trials bike again. Again, like a bit like the Guadarola thing, you don't lose. I mean, he was unbelievable back when he sort of came through first time on the beta. And you don't lose that talent. I know he struggled sometimes with, I think he had panic attacks and some sort of mental health issues as well. It was just good to see it. Two solid, what were they, fourth places? Fourth,
I think, yeah.
Yeah, two fourth places.
Yeah, you got four.
And in fact, actually, I laughed. That girl, Marietta, interviewed him, and he said, well, yeah, but Adam isn't here, which I thought was, fair, fair
play, yeah.
But actually looking at the scores and where he was in relation to the guys in front of him, it's hard to know whether Adam would have got in there or not.
No, we never will, I suppose, will we?
No, you never know. But anyway, yeah, just good to see.
Yeah, it was definitely.
He seems to ride well in Andorra sometimes, because I remember back in 2020 he was on the Gasser. He got a third place.
It is funny how the different venues suit people. They tend to like the results running the pattern, don't they? Of we're going to Andorra, you'll have a good weekend. And...
Don't mention Grattarola in Italy. Is that what you're saying?
You might win.
We don't know yet.
There's a thought. Well, it is the next round.
Maybe they do know already, Jack.
Right, yeah.
Controversial.
Predictions coming soon.
Controversial. What was I going to say? I forgot what I was going to say there. Casales, the Andorran sort of terrain is quite similar to Galicia, where he's from in northern Spain. So that's probably why he goes well there. Same sort of rock and that sort of pine tree type sort of going. A bit like Pobladura. Have you ridden Pobladura? You have.
Yeah,
you have Hugo, I think as well.
The year of 2020, I think I went there.
I think it was 2020. Yeah, I went to that one. It was good. It's good.
I might have done actually. Forget all the names.
So many.
It's good. It's a good venue. Unless you're looking for somewhere to eat or buy food, because there's no restaurants or shops in the village but there's a world-class trans park. So they got their priorities right there.
Yeah.
So then moving on this weekend in Devon, Hugo, what were you doing that last lap?
Nothing. Just a few things didn't go my way, to be honest. That is silly.
Had a podium.
Well, yeah, just a 5 section, an innocent 5 on section 2. Just come up the first. There's like an awkward step. Put my foot down. The foot slipped off. So then I binned it down the bank. Felt like 100 yards, but it wasn't. But yeah, little things like that drop you down. But happy enough with this.
Yeah, it was a good ride. Good ride.
Yeah.
Sweet one.
Cheers. Thank you.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
Plugging away. Just keep plugging away.
Yeah.
Jack, 4th place. Is there a difference? Now, I asked Jack Peace this the last time he was on. Do you prepare differently for a British Championship or a World Championship, or do you do the same? Do you just do the same thing? Just treat it like the same trial?
I mean, as an event, they are the same, but because we've got different rules and, you're allowed to hop and roll bump and things like this, whereas World Championship, you're sort of in pivot turn, maybe a bit of a flick, and then you're gone. You've got an element. You could push the observers a bit with the stop or anything. You just judge it when you arrive there. But, I think we definitely train a bit more of the stop and hop balancing the week before and everything. But problem is when you've got such tight turnarounds, it's hard to, switch from different things. But no, I do try to, as much as I can, prepare for the British, but I just need to get on that podium if I can.
Yeah. Good to see you up there, Jack.
It looked from the scores anyway. I mean, I know some of the British rounds this year have been probably on the hard side. It looked from the scores that I haven't seen any videos. There's a video I think floating about now, but it looked like the sections probably were pretty much bang on in terms of the level and everything else. They got them.
Yeah, I think they got them. They got them really good. This time. I couldn't get through section 12 for some reason. I messed up the last bit, on the first lap, and then I kept messing up the middle bit on the last 2 laps. So which was a bit unfortunate because I went back and did it straight after and cleaned it 3 times in a row. So I was
typical.
a bit like, yeah,
that's annoying. And I'm guessing, did it rain?
Yeah, well, not a lot, did it? But it made a massive difference.
Yeah, because it wouldn't take much. It wouldn't take much to make those rocks, particularly the ones out on the sort of hillside, just to make them like ice, just a little skiff.
Yeah, well, that's what happened. It was just like 10-minute shower. It literally went from the grippiest rocks you've ever seen to the slippiest rocks you've ever seen straight away.
It definitely only affected lap 2 though. Definitely.
Yeah, I'm looking at the scores now.
I think it depended where you were. I think because what stage they were drying out, because it was still pretty slippy when I went through. But
yeah,
because I think it started raining just as we finished our lap 1, so we was obviously in the trees for the first half of the lap, and then when we got there, it was like an ice rink. None of us got through section 12. No, sorry, section 9.
9, yeah, that was a hard one, wasn't it?
Big step. Literally, we took a bit of a run up, and as we went to go, there was just no grip at all. So some of us were going up, some of us were bailing and things like that. And then lap 3, it went fine again. So I thought it was quite amazing, the difference between maybe an hour or so.
Yeah, just looking at the scores there. Yeah, as you say, in section 9, just about everybody went clean 5 clean.
Yeah.
But there's Billy Green's lap scores 2, 15, and 4. So yeah,
that shows it.
Yeah, nobody. I don't know. You need to be like an F1 team there with a strategy call. You need to call somebody in for the wet tires.
Yeah.
Doesn't quite work that way, does it? Yeah. Well, I mean, how did you start? How did you start off at trials? Is it? I mean, most people, it's a family thing. Their dad does it, their older brother, whatever it is. What about you?
So for me, it was my dad. He used to, well, he still does, but maybe not as much now. But he used to do all like the Belgium Classic and the French 4-day, Verdon, and I suppose majority of the S3 rounds. And obviously, I used to be there. And as I got older, I sort of wanted to ride myself. So my dad got me, I suppose it would have been one of the first Ossets in the country. And at the time, we didn't know Oliver or Ian, but I had one. And it just went from there. So I was 3 years old when I got my first Osset, and then gradually progressed. I think my first trial was at Surrey Youth Trial. So with Eddie Renham, he does an amazing job of, promoting the youth and really pushing them, starting them at a young age, no matter what. Just a really nice club to start with. And then after this, went on to Surrey Boys, progressed through the ranks. And then obviously, like Hugo said, decided to go to the YMSA and go a bit further afield. And that's when we met Barry and went from there, really. He knows how to teach people, and he's got a great bit of land, Dudwood Farm. Hopefully we'll be bringing the YMSA back. We'll have to get a petition going for him. I'm sure if enough people are willing to help him out, he'd love to do it again.
Yeah.
And then progressed on to British Championship, through the ranks there. And then started going to Europeans. So that's sort of, we just went in stages, year by year, as it went. And then somehow ended up on the world scene, and we were winning a few rounds. So yeah, it was definitely a nice progression. Definitely not easy, and we've still got lots to work on now. But definitely it's interesting listening to people, how they got into trials and things like that, because everyone's story is different.
Yeah. No, it's funny. I'm glad you mentioned actually about probably one of the first Ossets, because The other question I had to ask you was, did you start on an Osset? Because if you did, you're probably one of the first sort of ones who's come from that electric, sort of starting on an electric bike rather than a TY80 or whatever it would have been sort of back in the day, who's progressed right through the ranks to that sort of world top level.
Yeah, because I think at the time Ian and Oliver still lived in America, and they'd started making these bikes, and I think it was Oliver's granddad or so. They had a few in some barn somewhere, and my dad went off and brought one, and it sort of went from there.
Yeah.
A few Ossets later, and then I did actually progress onto a TY80. So, you know, bit of a more heavier bike, but I moved on to that when I was 5.
Yeah.
So maybe a bit earlier than some others.
You've got to have a TY80.
Oh, we've all had one, haven't we? Everyone's had one.
Probably a few of us have had the same one.
I was going to say, yeah, it's the same bike, just doing the rounds. Yeah, no, I was a late starter. I didn't get a trials bike till I was 17, and it was a 349 Montesa twin shock. That thing tried to kill me. I don't know how many times. It was brutal, but it was a good lesson. You know, it taught you a bit of respect.
Yeah, I bet.
So, take us through. So, Youth British Championships. Then, so you did the DCBA. Did you win each one as you went along, or was it?
So I started. So as I got my GasGas 80, I pretty much had that for the whole of my youth career. I absolutely loved it. I was adamant that I wanted to stay on the GasGas, and that's why it's sort of quite a nice thing at the minute, because I'm still running GasGas. I think it's my 11th year on GasGas, so I've been with the bike a long time. So the first championship I went to D medium wheel. I didn't worry about D small wheel at the time. D medium wheel, I think in my second year I won that, and then progressed to C medium wheel, and then C standard wheel, B class. I didn't win B class, but I moved up a year early to A class. And then from then on, moved on to the adult British Championship in the Trial 125 class, and then Trial 2, and now TrialGB.
Very good. And just
sort of a natural progression.
Yeah. And so you've ridden GasGas, obviously. So basically most of your career, apart from the TY80 and the Osset.
Yeah, I did have a Beta 80 on for 1 year. My Gasser 80 didn't have. I think it lost a few ponies, you know, so I just needed a bit more power for that 1 year. But I knew after that year that I'd be going straight back on a GasGas 125.
Yeah, because a lot of people, I mean, certainly most of the young youth riders from here, it's like it's Beta 80. That's it. There's no.
Yeah.
Do GasGas even still make that?
I think they last made
70
one
or whatever it was.
Yeah,
right.
But no, I think I was the odd one out. I was the only one on a GasGas 80. But,
yeah,
I had a GasGas 80 as well. I didn't have a Beta one.
No.
Yeah.
No, just my dad had a GasGas at the time, so I think I wanted one then too.
Yeah.
The problem with where you like pop privet the silencer on, I kept looping out, so the silencer went from about this long to this long by the time I sold it. Just had to like cut it off, new holes, pop privet it back on.
I bet it sounded good.
Get a rasp on it.
Did it lose any power as the silencer gradually gets shorter? It's losing. I don't know. Was it length of the exhaust affects the torque? Can't remember which one of that is. Is it longer or shorter? Can't remember. But
yeah, don't know. That didn't know what power was back then. To be honest, probably so.
Just rev it harder. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just keep it singing. So you mentioned earlier about your mum. So I'm guessing obviously parents heavily involved, driving all around the countryside, all that usual.
Yeah. So for the World Championship, Mum does a lot of the driving, just because Dad's got to stay at home and work and look after my brother Max. But it's definitely like a whole team situation where everyone's got their part to play.
Everybody has to look in.
But yeah. And Max, he's getting some good results now, which I'm really pleased about. So hopefully we can, push for more and take it all the way.
And Max, what level or what grade is Max riding now? B?
So Max is 13 and he's in B class.
B class, yeah, I thought that's where he was. And when does that championship started already? It has, hasn't it? There's been the first 2 rounds.
It started back in March, I think it was. And then I think they've had a fair few rounds and then they've sort of stopped for a bit.
There's like a summer break.
Start back up. Yeah, which is quite strange, really.
You'd wonder.
It starts up late September.
Yeah.
So.
Because it finishes quite late. I think the last round was about October time or something. It's
the weekend of the
Scott Trial. Yeah, I thought it was something like that.
I got shivers then when you said that.
Oh, Scott Trial! Don't say that. When do the entries come out for the Scott? Just so as I know, not to look up any social media to remind me to enter
it. Can't be long now. Usually they're out pretty early, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd love just to get a finisher's certificate. I'd be happy. I'd retire. So, Max 13. What age are you now, Jack? 18.
18. Yeah, 18.
So there's a bit more between you than the 2 Hemos.
Yeah.
So is there going to be a sibling rivalry then in a few years' time, do you think?
Well, he's definitely nearly as tall as me, I'll tell you that now. So yeah, still a bit of competition there, but I'll support him all the way. If he really wants to go for it, I mean, I can teach him whatever I know, and I'm sure he just picks things up. He just picks things up just from seeing me train. But
yeah,
I find it quite amazing because I don't necessarily have to tell him a lot. He'll just watch and he'll pick it up, and I think, wow, you can do it.
Yeah,
He just, when he really believes in himself and if he knows he can do it, then yeah, I'm sure he can progress onto the world stage.
It must be good. Obviously, it's good for him because he has you anytime you're out practicing or whatever. When you're at home, presumably he's probably there as well, so he's watching what you're doing. So he's got a bit of a head start probably over some of the other kids that he's up against. Which is, I mean, I look at the 2 Hemos. I'm probably going to be a bit controversial here, but I actually reckon that George is going to be a better rider than Harry. Everybody's just gone silent there. Tumbleweed moment. I watched them sort of practice, and I watched them practice inch perfect. And there was a section that they were practicing on a cable reel. I think you were doing it as well, Jack. And they were sort of splatting. They were sort of splatting back wheel first onto this cable reel, and then George came in and just touched, slow as you like, just touched the front, all technique, and just floated up onto it. Lovely. And even Harry looked at it and went, fair play. So I don't know. I might be.
He's a pretty class.
I find with the 125, like because they're so slow, you can really exaggerate your body. Like when I went back on one just before Scotland, it sort of amazed me what they can do, and it sort of reminds you do have your body a bit more.
Yeah.
So it definitely doesn't do any harm. And sort of in Scotland, I found a bit of grip somewhere.
Yeah. I remember,
Yeah.
I can't remember what day it was, but there was one section. It was a series of big slabs. It was our early day, actually. It would have been Wednesday. And the last slab, it was like 3 or 4 bike lengths long. You couldn't have stood on it. And
I know
you
exactly
rode
the
up
one
it, and
you
you
mean.
practically, the back guard was bent onto the tire. You were hanging off the back of it so much the back guard was bent onto the tire.
Properly like that.
It was proper, like old school, knees out, flipping, hanging off the back. It was class.
I don't think it helped that the guy in front of me had a massive crash, so I was sort of down at the bottom thinking, "Oh dear, is this going to happen to me?"
Yeah, it was one of those ones. But if you were, there was a few riders had gone up, and there was a line which was literally the width of the back tire, and if you'd gone off that line, you were just going straight back down the rock. There was no two ways about it. It was straight to the scene of the accident. Like, right, Hugo, anything more you want to ask Jack while we've got him?
Don't think there is really.
What's your favorite color?
Red, probably.
Love the color red.
Cheese and onion crisps or prawn cocktail?
It's got to be cheese and onion, I think.
Yeah. You ever tried cheese and onion crisps and chocolate?
No, I haven't.
That's a nice combination. No. You see a bar of dairy milk chocolate and a bag of cheese and onion crisps? Mint.
Jack's an athlete. He doesn't eat crisps and chocolate.
Oh, of course. Sorry, I forgot. Yeah, sorry.
There's a time, you know. I don't mind.
Right. Listen, Jack, thank you so much for taking the time to come on. It's been great chatting to you.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
No, look, anytime. You're more than welcome.
Yeah, it's been good chatting with you.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant, and it's really good to hear. I know we've had the other Jack piece on, obviously, and it was interesting to hear his insight into Scotland, and sort of when he thought he'd lost the trial and all that sort of stuff. So it's really interesting to get it from a rider's perspective, and obviously yourself there talking about your last lap in San Marino and a few wee nervy moments and stuff like that. So it's all good. It's all good to hear. Like I say, really appreciate the time. When's the next British Championship? Is that 9th of July?
Yeah,
not this weekend.
Brimham Rocks, isn't it? Right. I might see if I can come over with Josh again. I might try and come over to that one. Be good to get another. I did a video of Inch Perfect actually, and it's doing quite well on our channel. So excellent. Don't forget to subscribe, everybody. Thank you very much again, Jack. And I might see you at Brimham Rocks. But cheers, everybody, for watching.
Yeah. No, great if we see you again.
Yeah. Thanks to everybody who's given us feedback. I know I get a few messages. I think Hugo gets some feedback as well whenever he's out and about. So it's all good. We're just trying to put the sport out there and hopefully give it a bit of a I don't know, an outlook, something, whatever. So thanks for that.